y'all, and welcome to today's video. I have been testing and trying a lot of new eyeshadow palettes, first impression videos, tutorials, all of that, but I'm ready to sit down and give you my full thoughts, my reviews on these palettes. We're gonna go through these quickly. I'm excited about it, so let's jump into it. So, like I said, I do a lot of videos on my channel, first impressions, testing new eyeshadow palettes, swatching, tutorials, that type of thing. But I think it is so important to do follow-up reviews. Once I've tested a palette more ways, tried more of the shades, used it more, played with it more, blah, 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 all of that, I want to follow up today. I want to tell you what I really think of these, how I feel about them, all of that stuff. I will say these palettes, everyone I'm going to talk about today, I do have videos on these palettes. So if you want to see close-ups of the palette, if you want to see swatches, if you want to see application, definitely check out those videos. They are here on my channel. Today is just going to be the review portion. So let's start off first by talking about Pat McGrath, because I have two palettes from her that I want to review. This is the mini eyeshadow palette Sublime Smoke. I really like this palette. If you are looking for a little mini neutral palette, I think you will really like this. Pat McGrath last year came out with a palette in the same style format, but it was half neutral and half more purpley tones. So this year she gave us straight up neutrals. What I like about this is, one, it's at a lower price point. I believe it's right under the $30 mark at Sephora, and I think that's really nice. It gives you a chance to try Pat McGrath shimmers and matte shadows. You don't get any of those special shades Pat McGrath does that are really like shiny, sparkly, but you do get a really good formula in here. I like that we have kind of this mid-tone brown, a brown that's a little bit deeper, and then this deep dark brown. I like that we have a light shimmer and two mid-tone shimmers. I think the layout of this palette is very nice. You can create a look with the rose, with the color, like whatever you want to do. It's 6 shades. It is very tiny. You see how small it is, but I think it's a really nice little neutral palette. If you like to keep your makeup in a makeup bag, something like that, it's not going to take up a lot of space. The price point's really nice. Is it revolutionary? No, it's a little 6-pan neutral palette, but I do think it's really cute. And that leads me into her quad. So this quad launched with her bronzers. She had like lip products. I bought all of it. I bought this, and I do have a short. I made a YouTube short here using this little palette. Now, this palette is significantly more expensive than this one. This is the Bronze Luxe Quad in Venusian Sunrise. So with this palette, you do have, of course, bigger pans, but you have Pat McGrath's special formula, where it's this really flaky, sparkly, shiny type of formula. You have this beautiful gold shade, you have a beautiful, impactful shimmer, and then 2 mattes. Now, this one, very pretty. If you are using these shades every day, if you do the same makeup look every day, you may like this. I don't. I get bored. If I had to wear the same makeup every day, I probably just wouldn't wear it, like the same techniques and all of that. I like to have some fun with my makeup, but I don't know that I would recommend this to anyone. If somebody was like, Heather, what's a good neutral palette? I wouldn't immediately go to Pat McGrath. Now, if you're looking at this quad, if you're already interested in it and you want to know if the quality is good, yes, the quality is good, but it's pricey. It's very pretty, but I don't think anybody needs to like run out and buy this. I really think this one is a great price point. Again, you don't get that special formula that you get in this one, but you can create a lot of the same looks, although the sparkle of this shade is really, really pretty. Okay, I bought the new e.l.f. American Eagle collab palette. So I do have a video on my channel swatching this, creating a blue look, and then I did a video on the e.l.f. like contour and highlight glow wands, whatever they called them, and I have a tutorial in that video as well. So I do have two looks on my channel, one that's a very blue look, one that's a very neutral look, a very quick to do. So definitely check those out if you're interested. I think this palette is good, not great. I can definitely work with it. It does take a little more effort, which blue shadows are not always the easiest to work with anyways, but I feel like this palette was good. I don't think it was amazing. I think the theming is very cute. For an e.l.f. and American Eagle collab, I think they did a great job. We have the embossing on the pan that looks like American Eagle, like denim pockets. I think the color story is really nice with the blues and the neutrals they paired together. The neutrals are cool leaning, and I think that was really smart as well for a kind of blue jean inspired palette. After I've played with this more, I still stand by what I said in my first impression video, is that this is a good palette. I can create a look, but it takes a little more work than some of my great palettes. So I think this was good. It was $16. If somebody were asking me for a drugstore eyeshadow palette recommendation that had some blues in it, this isn't the one my mind would immediately go towards. I would go more towards BH Cosmetics. I know that their palettes aren't available in a lot of places anymore, but I mean, neither was this one, but BH Cosmetics, like their blueberry muffin palette, I think was really a standout palette. Amazing. I would maybe even point you more towards ColourPop, but I do think this is a good palette. I'm not sad that I bought it. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts haven't really changed on that one. Okay, Geologie Cosmetics sent me their new Wheatbelt palette. So I also have a video with this one, and then I also made a short with this one. So in my video, I'm creating a very colorful look, and then in the short that I uploaded, I'm creating a more neutral look. This palette is mostly mattes. You can see only 2 of these shades are shimmer. I really like the inclusion of this blue shimmer. I think it fits in so beautifully with these green shades and with these neutrally tones. I think it's really pretty, and I also really like that we have this neutral kind of bronzy shimmer right here, because it does let you pair it with kind of this half of the palette if you want to create something that is very pretty, soft and neutral leaning. I think this palette performs well. These are definitely more buildable mattes, so you can kind of like pack a shade on and then add a little bit more to get the intensity you want. I think the shimmers are very pretty. They're very smooth on the lid. This one definitely packs a punch, and I really like that. Geologie Cosmetics is an Australian indie brand, so if you're living in Australia and you're looking for some indie brands to support, I think this one is really beautiful. I did purchase their first palette. I believe that launched 2 years ago, the Pilbara palette. I really enjoyed it. So I was super happy when they reached out to me to send me their Wheatbelt palette. I think this color story is fun. I think it's a little bit different, and I really enjoy it. I think it's super cute. Okay, I really enjoyed this ColourPop Alice in Wonderland palette. I think when ColourPop teams up with Disney, in my experience, the quality of those shadows have been really, really good, which makes me super happy, because I love when I see like an IP collab, something like that, and the quality is just as good as like the packaging. I really like this softer take on Alice in Wonderland. I think this is super fun. I like how we have these kind of pastel shades. I like how we have these deeper shades down here at the bottom. I have a video on this full collection, and then I also uploaded a tutorial as a short if you want to see that. We have these really pretty like shimmer shades that have a little bit of a different reflect to them. I don't know that I would call it a duochrome, but I really like this kind of lavender shade with this icy blue shimmer to it. This kind of light blue with this golden shimmer to it. Really pretty. We do have this. I don't know if they call this a pressed glitter or what they call this, but it's definitely more of a glittery shadow. We have more of like a Super Shock shadow formula in here. I really like the inclusion of this black charcoal type of shade with the sparkle. I think that allows you to deepen the looks up. You can mix it with these other mattes if you want to and create something a little bit deeper. But for me, I felt like there was a lot of versatility in this palette and I've enjoyed it a lot. If ColourPop didn't send me this collection, I was planning to purchase the whole collection myself, and I definitely would not have regretted that purchase because I've enjoyed this one a lot. I also really like that with this kind of taupey brown shade, you could just throw this all in the crease if you wanted and then go in with one of these shimmers or something like that. Use this shade down here as a liner and you could get a really simple look that way as well. And I love Alice in Wonderland, so the packaging is just as cute as the inside. Let's keep on with that Alice in Wonderland theme. This is not an Alice in Wonderland palette, but I can definitely see the inspiration. This, I believe, is called the Tea Time palette. It's not on the packaging, but I'm pretty sure that's the name. Now, if I have codes for any of these brands, I will pop them up on the screen for y'all. I will also link everything in the description box with my codes. You don't have to use those, but the information will be there. If you're just looking for the names of the palettes and things like that, it's in the description box. This is a Wicked Widow Beauty palette, and this is my second time trying this brand and I'm very impressed. I do have a video. I want to say this was in a get ready with me. So we have a nice mirror in here. It opens like this. I'm going to hold it this way so it's a little easier to show y'all. But we have a good mix of mattes and shimmers in here. So this shade right here, Who Are You? And then this shade up here, Key. They're these pretty, really sparkly, intense sparkly shades that have kind of a duochrome shift to them. Very pretty. And then we do have two shimmers right here that shimmer, you know, like they are pretty. They have a really beautiful finish to them. I really like this purpley silver color right here called Rabbit, and then Drink Me is this like snow white type of color that I really like. The mattes are all pretty light to mid-tone, but I think this is super fun. I created looks with this that I really enjoyed. I had a good time. The mattes are pigmented. They're very easy to work with, easy to blend, easy to layer, and I really like that. I think within this 8-pan color story, there was able to still be some versatility. I also said in my video where I'm trying this that I think this would make a very good like companion palette too, to kind of mix and match with other palettes, and I still think so. You can create beautiful looks with it on its own. Of course you can create beautiful looks on your own on its own, but you can also pull it in, mix and match it with your other palettes, and I think that would be a super good time. So the layout of this palette I think is also really well thought out. So if you want, you can just stick to each column those 4 shades and you have a beautiful color story. So if you feel a little overwhelmed, not sure what to do, just stick to these 4 or just stick to these 4 and limit yourself to those 4 shades and see what you can come up with. If not, split the palette in half into quads, like this quad right here or this quad right here, see what you can come up with. Of course, I have a tutorial on my channel. Other creators have tutorials with this as well, so you can get some inspiration there. But overall, I'm impressed and I'm intrigued to see what Wicked Widow Beauty is gonna do next. Okay, let's talk about these 4 palettes from Ace Beauté. So I was able to get these palettes from the brand in advance before the launch, so I had time to play with them. I do have a video with 4 looks using these palettes on my channel. A look with each of the palettes, swatches, everything like that. So this is their Flora collection. Now let's kind of talk about these individually. I said in my video, and I'll say again, I'm not a fan of the pan layout. I don't, there's something about it that I wish it would have just been squares or circles or something like that. But overall, the quality in all 4 of these is there. Really pretty. I'm going to kind of talk about them from least favorite to most favorite, just in terms of preference in the color story, not quality, because I feel like the quality in all of these is consistent with one another. Very good, very beautiful. I've really liked the looks I created, but I'm going to kind of rank these four based on my personal preference. This purple one, really pretty. It is a monochromatic purple palette, but I do like that we have light tone shades, mid-tone shades, and deeper shades. Next, I have the more neutral palette, which is Calla. So with this one, I like how this is very neutral, almost cool leaning. It's not very warm at all. And when I say neutral, I'm meaning, of course, not just that it's like browns and bronzes, but that it's not super warm, it's not super cool. It has those right in the middle kind of neutral tones with some coolness there as well, especially like with this more kind of like silvery shade right here, kind of gunmetal type of color. And then we have these bronzes. The only really like warm tone I would say is maybe this kind of gold, but I would even say this is a more neutral leaning gold. So really pretty. I like that we have these mid-tones and deep shades in here. After that, I really like Flora. This one, I like this color story. To me, this is a pretty mix of yellows that we have some really like yellowy yellows, dandelion type daisy yellows. And then we have these more orangey tone yellows. We do have enough neutral in here that you can create a kind of more warm neutral look if you would like. But I also really like the yellow tones. I just think that's super pretty. We have this kind of duochrome goldy green yellow type of shade that I think is a lot of fun. All of these palettes do have a nice mirror, and I just think overall this is really, really pretty. I had a lot of fun with the look I created. I think you can take this palette from summer to fall very easily, very beautiful. Of course, do your makeup whenever you want to. Do pastels in the winter, do neons, you know, whenever. Like, it doesn't matter, but I do think, like, looking at the vibe, I think this is really good for all times of year. My personal favorite from that collection was Begonia. This one, I just feel like I have the most versatility here, and it's a color story that I really enjoy as well. So we do have these greens and these mauve pink burgundy shades with this deep dark purple thrown in. We have this kind of like pink to rose gold type of duochrome. Really, really beautiful. This palette does have more mattes than other shades, and I think you can really create a variety of looks with this color story. Again, I really like these three greens right here. I like these red mauve tones, the pink shimmery shades. I like that we have this light, more icy kind of shimmer. I think that can go really beautifully on the lid or on the inner corner, whatever you want to do. And of course, we have shades to deepen up with. I just think when I looked at this one, looking at the full collection, I feel like this is the one that will give you the most versatility, the most variety of looks. And I just really like these tones. So this one is kind of my personal favorite, but the quality in all of these is super nice. Okay, last but not least is this Bella Beauté Bar Pastel Garden palette. Now this palette is large. It's not quite as large as I expected it to be when I saw the photos online. So this palette was sent to me from the brand. I do have a video 4 looks using this palette, and then I also have it in a get ready with me. So I have plenty of tutorials for y'all, plenty of swatches. This palette is stunning. This has all the pastels in it. I really, really enjoy that. I like that we have very light pastels, like this shade, like this shade, like this shade, like very, very light. And then I also like how we have some more kind of punchy pastels, not quite mid-tone, but you know, a little more saturated pastels, like with this shade, this shade, this shade. Really, really beautiful. I like the different shimmer formulas in here as well. We kind of have some duochrome shades. We have some formulas that are very intensely sparkly, some that are a little more smooth and reflective. Overall, super, super beautiful. I'm loving this new and improved formula that Bella Beauté Bar is giving us in this palette. I love the color story. I know not everybody is into a super big palette, but I gotta say, I'm really into this one. Every time I've used this, I've had a lot of fun with it. I also think it's a great companion palette. If you have maybe some deep dark jewel tones, something like that, and you need some shades to kind of like buff and blend out those deeper shades, this palette can offer you that. It gives you the shades, the colors, but it gives you those lighter tones that you can use for blending. If you're looking for matte inner corners, this palette's got you. And then, like I said, I do love the shimmery formulas in here. I think there's some pretty different reflex and shine and shades, and I really like this. I really like this palette. I think the shades in here are beautiful, the formulas in here are beautiful, and I'm just really loving that pastel palette. All right, y'all, I really hope that you enjoyed this speed review style video. The look that I'm wearing today, I did film this for my members, my channel members. I will link the membership down below, but we played with some older palettes, created this look. You don't have to be a channel member though. I will list all the products that I used to get this look down in the description box. All the info will be down there. I hope you enjoyed these kind of follow-up reviews. I know I have a lot of fun testing new makeup, trying new makeup, creating eye looks, making videos like that for y'all, but I always want to come back and let you know what I think after I've played with them more and more, and I really have my thoughts on these. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that whatever you are doing, you're having an amazing day, and I will see you very soon in another video, so don't forget to subscribe. Bye!